evening. I'd like to call the July 28, 2020 regular City Council meeting to order. I would also like to point out that this meeting is being hosted through live stream on the city's website and by teleconference for public comment. City staff is at an off-site location participating through video conference. If you're joining through teleconference, please remember to mute your telephone to prevent noise interference until you provide your public comment. Due to the structure of this meeting, I would like to remind council to have their microphones turned on and positioned so the audience can hear. Deputy City Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Meyer?
Here.
Councilmember Friswell?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Krupa?
Here.
Mayor Brown?
Here. And we, in the absence of a representative from the Interfaith Council, I've asked Mayor Pro Tem Krupa to lead us in invocation, after which I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
We ask that you be with us tonight, Lord, as we put our minds outside distractions and do our best work for the city. And I would ask that you protect our first responders, our police department, our fire department, and our ambulance workers. Please keep them safe as they go out and deal with the things that they deal with every day. Please keep all of our citizens safe, and please help this pandemic to go away quickly. I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Please face the flag, put your hands over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, before we move on further into the agenda, I'd like to request that we add an item of urgency based on information that was received this afternoon that I think bears some attention at this council meeting, and the information was received after the posting of our regular agenda. So the item that I would like to add is discussion. We have received the resignation of Councilmember Bonnie Wright effective today, and so that creates a vacant seat. And would be so kind as to explain the legal obligation that council has.
Sure. Before explaining the legal obligation, to add that item to your agenda, you would just need a motion and
So moved.
to add it.
Second.
It will need to be unanimous.
Okay. I have a motion by Councilmember Meyer, a second by Councilmember Percival. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Friswell?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Krupa?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes, that passes unanimously.
Would you like to take that item now or at a different place?
I'd prefer to just go, let's go ahead and take it now.
Very good. So, yeah, as the mayor mentioned, the city did receive a written resignation from Councilmember Bonnie Wright, effective immediately, effective today. State law will govern here. There's a section in the government code that lays out the rules on what to do when there is a resignation for a council member. And I'll just summarize those briefly. It will require the city to appoint within 60 days a registered voter
to appoint a registered voter from Councilmember Wright's district to fill the seat until the conclusion of the election, or to call a special election to fill the vacancy. However, because the next election is a general election coming up in November, there isn't enough time for a special election. Therefore, it appears, and this is subject to further research. My office hasn't had full time to research all of the details of your options this afternoon, but it appears that the option would be to appoint someone to fill the vacancy within 60 days. I will mention briefly that state law does not set forth a process to conduct the appointment. That process is something that the four of you can discuss and develop and implement. So with that, that concludes my short presentation, and happy to discuss or have any questions.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Appreciate that overview. So it appears that we, in all practicality, a special election is really off the table. It would be costly, and we have a general election coming up. So at the risk of being presumptive, I think that pretty much narrows it down to an appointment process. I'm opening it up to discussion. Anybody have comments or preference on how you'd like to initiate that process?
So just for clarity, we have a legal obligation that we have to appoint somebody within 60 days of today.
Correct. Subject to any further research that my office will perform, but our reading of the statute right now, again, provides two options: appoint or a special election. There's not enough time for a special election.
Right. And the reason why I asked that question is because the general election is literally in 4 months. Okay.
Yeah, that basically would be my question, to do some additional research and see if it's absolutely mandatory that we have to appoint, or if the November election, if whatever time frame is considered, could be considered a special election to fill the slot, because it's the length of time we have, it's sometimes arduous and whatever to finally appoint somebody.
Sure. Happy to look at that further.
I think that would be prudent to allow City Attorney's Office to research that and make sure that there isn't maybe a more obscure option if the general election could be construed as equivalent to a special election in the time frame. So I'm not opposed to allowing the City Attorney's Office time to research that.
And Mayor, maybe we can leave it on the agenda like we have the COVID update, so that each meeting we can just move forward. They can give their update. We can make a plan if we have to next time.
Certainly.
Because it's not, I mean, if we have 60 days, there's no rush.
Certainly.
Something like this one.
Okay.
Do you need a motion for?
Well, let's go ahead and make it a motion.
We don't have to do
There's
anything like
no
that,
need
right?
to accept the resignation. It is effective upon the submission. But you could have a motion and a vote just to direct my office to do some further research and to include it on the next agenda and future agendas.
We have Tom's office do further research to see what our obligations are, and then we can have it on the agenda for the next discussion.
Okay. I have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? I have a second by Linda. Any more discussion? Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Meyer? Yes. Councilmember Percival?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Krupa?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes. That motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, and look forward to hearing the results of the research. Next item is item 15, the City Attorney Closed Session Report. So I'll call on you again, Tom.
Sure, thank you. The City Council met in closed session with respect to all of the items on the closed session agenda, and there is no reportable action on any of those items, and that concludes the report.
Thank you very much. We'll now move to communications from the public. To accommodate public comment, we've made some temporary changes to this part of our agenda that were necessitated to comply with COVID-19 directives. Anyone who wishes to speak during public comment or on a particular item will be required to fill out a speaker slip and turn it in to the city clerk. Each will cover one speaker. There is a temporary 2-minute per person time limit for all general public comments on non-public hearing items. Anyone wishing to speak, including council members and staff, need to be recognized by the mayor before speaking. Members of the public shall comply with adopted rules of decorum, resolution number 4545, a copy of which can be requested through the city clerk's office. You may also fill out a form and submit your comments online at www.hemetca.gov, and those comments will be read aloud. However, your submittal must be done before 2 p.m. the day of the meeting. For those of you that wish to join by teleconferencing, you'll be able to do so by calling 888-585-9008. When prompted, you will dial 768-176-038. As a reminder, if you're joining by teleconference, please remember to mute your phone to prevent noise interference until your opportunity to provide comment. And remember to please state your name and the item that you're commenting on. So with that, do we have any electronic comments submitted?
No, Mayor, there were no electronic comments submitted for items on the agenda.
Okay. Do we have anyone on teleconference for items on the agenda?
There are 2 participants on the teleconference line. I have unmuted both if they have comments for items listed on the agenda.
Okay, for those of you that are participating by teleconference, if you wish to speak on an item that's listed on the agenda, now is your opportunity. If you're on the line, can you speak up?
Yeah, this is Dana Hill.
Okay, let's try one at a time.
Yeah, this is Dana Hill. I'm here at the request of the city clerk's office for the infrastructure position.
Okay, thank you for participating by teleconference. That item will come up later on the agenda. Did you wish to offer any comment on that, or do you want to just wait for that agenda item to come up?
No, I'll wait for the agenda.
Okay, thank you. And the next person?
This is Teresa Cunha, and actually I did have a public comment, but it was supposed to be read. It was an issue that we have in our area, and, you know, I'm new to this process, so forgive me.
Okay, Teresa, we did receive a printout of your comment. It's about a concern about speeding on Thornton, Fisher, and Mustang Streets. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir, yes.
Okay. Would you like our city clerk to read your comment out in public? Each of the council
Yes, I
members
would.
does have
Yes,
a printed copy of that. Would you like the city clerk to read it?
As long as you all have a copy of it, and my hope is that you'll also have a copy of the attachment that I sent,
Yes, we do.
because it is a significant issue in our area, and I want to bring it to your attention.
Yes, each of the council members has a printed copy along with the photographs that you submitted.
Okay, perfect. Then I'm good, and I appreciate your attention.
Thank you very much, and we'll be sure to pass this on to our police chief.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we only have the 2 members on?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, item 16B is public comments for items not listed on the agenda but within jurisdictional matter. Deputy City Clerk, are there any electronic comments to be submitted to be read aloud for non-agendized items?
Yes, Mayor, there are 4 comments submitted. The first one is from Ann Smith. Comment states, 1, will Councilwoman Wright be resigning from City Council as she has sold her home in Seven Hills? Is she living in Hemet? 2, I have read as best as possible the CAFR report, and I'm curious about how the city plans to fund the looming pension debacle. It looks to me like the city is paying a lot more in their portion of benefits than they have in past years. Is that because salaries are increasing, or is it because they are hiring more employees, or a combination of both? 3, Fire Chief Brown made a mistake in the last council meeting when he referred to the video that Councilwoman Myers showed all council member. He was talking about a completely different fire than the one Councilwoman Myers showed the video of. He should clarify that so the public knows the truth. 4, further to HFD, I understand that we have a mutual aid agreement with CAL FIRE, but after trying to sort through the various balance sheets in the CAFR report, I couldn't see just how much HPD actually got and HFD actually got. I saw a thing lumped together. I'd really like clarification. End of comment. Next comment is from Tom Austin. Comment states, safety concern, what, people drag racing and doing donuts with entire width and length of the street. Significance, this reckless action puts pedestrians, pets, and other drivers in risk of injury and or accident. This has been going on for a long time and is now escalating in terms of speed, frequency of occurrence, noise, and blatant disregard for health and safety of the public. Location, Fisher Street between West Thornton and Mustang Way. When typically late night, but starting to take place earlier in the evening and even during the day. Potential suggestions, some type of deterrent, example, speed bumps. Next comment is from Angela Daniels. I have a question. I found out through a neighbor that was born here that some of the Vagos motorcycle gang has been visiting a neighbor. I've never heard of them. Do I have anything to be worried about? End of comment. The next comment was from Teresa Cuna. I'll go ahead and read that. Comment states, over the last 2 years, the neighborhoods along Fisher, Thornton, and Mustang have been patiently waiting for the city of Hemet and Hemet PD to put a stop to all the speeding along these streets. There are cameras on the light pole at Thornton and Fisher, but from what we have been advised, the cameras are inactive and have never been enforced. The speeding and what people may call donut tricks along this street is an accident, serious injury, or even death waiting to happen. Many calls have been made to Hemet PD, of which they have attempted to respond to. We are taxpayers of Hemet and deserve to be heard and our issues addressed. This happens every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and many times during the week, starting at 7 p.m. all through the night and morning hours. I myself have taken videos of them speeding. Attached you'll find what Fisher Street looks like. I am just waiting for one of those cars to slam into our brick wall and come right through our bedroom wall and becoming a statistic. As a suggestion and starting point, we would like to see this area patrolled more frequently and have a functional speed camera installed. Again, something needs to be done before there is a serious injury or death. Appreciate your attention. Included with the comments are photos that were submitted. And those are all of the electronic comments.
Thank you very much. And this was the same one that our call-in Teresa Acuna was reporting on. So just make sure that we get it, the printed copy to the police chief. And do you have any speaker slips from our live audience participants?
Yes, Mayor. There are 2 requests to speak. First one is from Pat Gregory, followed by Marianne Derwin.
Good evening. A quote from the city. It is important to note that the general fund did end the year with a surplus in revenues, something that has not happened in many years. Really? You're really trying to sell that? City manager is attempting to make himself look good by transferring millions of Measure U funds to balance a budget. Without Measure U, there would have once again been a deficit. So, Mr. Lopez, you really haven't made any changes to fix Hemet's financial problems, and misrepresenting information doesn't make the problem go away. Doesn't it matter that Mayor Brown and Council Members Krupa and Wright all violated, I'll say it again, violated their promise that Measure U would be used only for the enhancement of public safety? Councilwoman Krupa even suggested that Measure U resolution should be amended after the fact. Mayor Brown said that 1 police officer per 1,000 was old statistics and not relevant. Funny thing is, we weren't even close to that number. So you all are rationalizing the violation of your own signed agreement that the city attorney said was binding. Do you really think people don't know what you are doing? I love Hemet. It could be a beautiful town. But with this lack of truth and lack of transparency, the city is still headed towards bankruptcy with the increased structural deficit, and that fact that our police are underfunded because of manipulations of the city manager can only add to the headache. In a spirit of full disclosure, I have submitted my concerns directly to the state auditor because I don't think any of you are listening. Oh, and just an FYI, I haven't received a timely response to my record request regarding invoices of bank statements and financial investments. That scares me a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was the last public comment.
Mary Ann does not wish to speak.
I believe she left.
Okay. Moving on, in our agenda, item 17 is receive and file. May I have a motion to receive and file items on 17A?
We did. Sorry, Mayor. We did pull that from the work study today.
That's
so
right,
I'd like
we did.
to. Okay, so I'd like to continue it.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, so we did decide to carry over the work study into our next council meeting to allow staff some time, additional time. They noticed some adjustments that needed to be handled, so we'll undertake that study at our next upcoming meeting. Thank you. So moving on to item 18 is the consent calendar. These items will be acted upon simultaneously unless a request is made by an individual council member for separate consideration. Are there any members of council that would like to pull a consent calendar item for separate consideration?
I have the squeakiest mic. I want to pull 18G.
18G. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the remaining items 18A, B, C, D, E, and F?
I'll move to approve 18A through F.
I have a motion to approve, and a second by Mayor Pro Tem. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Percival?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Krupa?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes, that motion passes unanimously. Item 18G. Carl?
Mayor Brown, you worked hard, and I just want to recognize the fact that staff and you guys put together this new commission, actually, so it's a little bit more detailed, so I want to thank you for doing this. And we have two of you, right, appointed, and I just wanted to...
And we have one on...
Oh, and Dana, you're on the conference line. I want to thank you guys for stepping up. I mean, taking on a new commission is, there's some unknown, there's some uncharted territory here, and that you guys are willing to step up and serve is huge to our community, so thank you guys. And to the other two that aren't here. I just wanted to recognize you and staff and then our new commissioners. Thank you.
Appreciate your comments. Linda, do you have anything you want to say?
Just want to approve it.
Okay. Michael?
I'll move to approve 18G.
I have a motion to approve item 18G, and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Cooper. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Percival?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Krupa? Mayor Brown?
Yes. And I do echo my colleagues' comments. Your time is past. I want to echo, payback. I echo Councilmember Meyer's appreciation for you volunteering to step up. It's going to be a brand new commission, and I'm sure that we'll be feeling our way along as we go, but I think that there's some critical issues that will need some oversight and input through this commission, and I'm happy to be the council representative to the new commission, and I look forward to working with all of you. Now you may speak. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I want to express my gratitude also. It's been a long time in formulating, and we kind of went around as a council on how we wanted to form this commission, but we came out in the end. I just want to say I know 4 of the 5 commissioners personally. Don't know Mr. Hill, but his resume is extremely impressive, and just thank you for stepping up and being willing to give of your time, and I'm looking forward to what you guys come up with as your mission and what you do, because I think we have a lot of infrastructure that can be commissioned. So thank you, everybody.
So thank you, Mr. Hill, for joining us by teleconference, and thank both of you for appearing in person. I know it's not easy to get out and about these days, but thank you for being here. Okay, moving on to item 19, discussion and action items. Each item will have a report from staff, and then we'll have the opportunity for public comment. So item 19A, selection of a voting delegate for the 2020 League of California Cities Annual Conference and Expo, October 7th through the 9th. And we already have information that that conference will be a virtual conference. It will not be taking place in Long Beach, which is a disappointment. I've always looked forward to participating in that because you learn as much from the breakout sessions as you do from just interacting with your counterparts in different cities, because we all are wrestling with many of the same issues and dilemmas, and it's a good opportunity to get ideas and insight. So it's disappointing that it'll be virtual, but I'm sure that with their creativity, they'll find a good way to do that. So council needs to select 1 delegate, and it says alternate voting members, and for the upcoming business meeting. So
I'd like to speak on that issue.
okay.
I believe last year Michael was the delegate and Russ was the alternate. So this year I'd like to make a motion that Russ is the delegate and Michael is the alternate. Because I'm not going to do it.
Second.
There you go. Thank you, Carla.
It looks like it's going to be you, Russ, because I have a conflict.
Well, how do you have a conflict with the virtual? But I'm happy to.
I guess I'll have 2 computers going with 2 Zoom meetings going.
Yeah. I'm happy to accept that delegation assignment, and so we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Meyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Percival?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Krupa?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes, and that motion passes unanimously. Moving on to 19B, our regular reoccurring item of the coronavirus update. City Manager?
Well, Mayor, it's 8:30 right now, and I don't know that we've ever gotten this far. Oh, I'm sorry, 7:30. Living in the head, yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know when the last time we made it through this fast was. So nothing major to report, but as a result of the emergency declaration that the council adopted on March 16th, the council did request that we have this reoccurring item for updates. As you can see in the staff report, as of July 20th, the following industries are required to close or operate outdoors only by way of mandates from the Governor of California: gyms and fitness centers, places of worship and cultural ceremonies like weddings and funerals, offices for non-critical infrastructure sectors, personal care services like nail salons and body waxing, hair salons and barbershops, shopping malls, shops that offer tattoos, piercings, and electrolysis must close and may not operate outdoors. As of July 13th, the state did mandate that all counties close indoor operations in the following sectors: dine-in restaurants, wineries and tasting rooms, movie theaters, family entertainment centers, zoos and museums, and card rooms. With that being said, the council did approve the outdoor dining in parking lots at the last council meeting, and we've already had about, I believe, 5 businesses go through the process already, and we've been able to get them squared away. With that being said, we did have a few employees that did come down with COVID. Happy to report that I believe 2 of them are back at work and recovered. So that is definitely good news for the city of Emmett. With that being said, Mayor, that concludes my report for the COVID-19 update.
Thank you very much. Any questions of the city manager? Linda?
Just one question. With the regulation that some of these businesses can be outdoors, like gyms, and do they need, they have to go through what the restaurants went through to fill out an application, or can they just move into their parking lots or on their sidewalks to do the gyms?
Yeah, we haven't established any sort of process that way. Yeah, but
First, do what you need to do.
I have seen a gym that's located in downtown do running exercises around the block.
That's pretty cool.
So I am seeing that, which they would need a permit to run on the sidewalk. So I think they're finding ways.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And I think it's important that businesses know they can do that, and that we encourage them to be able to stay in business.
And just a quick question, since we approved and ratified the outdoor dining, have we seen any increase or any change in the number of outdoor dining applications?
So the number I provided was as of last week. I don't know what we've had this week, but I can certainly follow up with community development. I can say even with COVID, it's a very busy time with development activity, just generally speaking.
And I did share that with the Zoom meeting, the last Zoom meeting, that District 3 Economic Recovery Task Force meeting, and Supervisor Washington appreciated that. He made some favorable comments about that, so just wanted to share that.
Thanks for the update. I want to point out something that Russ actually brought up on a Facebook post. It was a share of a letter to the State Board of Cosmetology. And my wife and I kind of got a kick out. We liked the post because it was spot on, because my wife has been a licensed cosmetologist for 25 years. And in the post it talks about how the hair salons and the nail salons are being shut down, and yet they have to take a test to get licensed by the state of California, and in their testing by the state, a vast majority of the testing wasn't about actually can you cut hair or can you do nails. It was about cleanliness and sanitation. And so I think that by these businesses being shut down by the governor just randomly is a disservice to, one, the community that is licensed by the state of California that actually was tested on cleanliness, when you've got businesses on the other hand that are open where there's mass crowds and nobody taught anything about cleanliness. So thanks for that post, and it hit the nail on the head. Again, thanks for the update. But again, it's these mandates are willy-nilly and they make no sense. It's my opinion is this has become such a politicized thing. Now, don't mistake that the virus is deadly. If you are in a high risk category, based on what the statistics are showing, it's deadly, and I advise those people to take precaution. As I mentioned before, both of my parents are high risk, so I take precautions because of them when I'm around them. But when you've got doctors, medical professionals who have been treating disease frontline, treating patients, and then you have other people going out and talking against what they're saying as the medical professional, when you've got pundits and media people saying don't do this, don't do that, I'd like to see their medical degree over the latter's medical degree. And when you've got social media companies that are censoring information that's being put out by these professionals. There was a group of doctors that just put out a video yesterday to get the message out there about this virus that they're seeing firsthand because they're treating patients. I ask these politicians that are making this a political issue versus a medical issue, I want to see their medical degree, and if they don't have one, they're committing medical malpractice or practicing medicine without a license. So somebody needs to look into that. But moving forward, I think that our community has done a great job in keeping the numbers down. I'm glad that our employees have recovered. That's good news. That just goes to show that getting COVID is not a death sentence. It can be treated, and there's medicine out there that will treat this, and especially if you can get that medication early on. So I just wanted to point those things out. But again, Russ, thanks for that post. I think it hit the nail on the head when it comes to state regulation and state licensing.
Well, I can't claim the origin. I just shared it from somebody else, and I offered my personal opinion commentary along with it. But I'll keep that to myself. And well, if it's my opinion, it's out on social media, so it's not really to myself. But I'll let people read it if they choose. Okay. Well, thank you very much for that update. It is encouraging that our employees are back and that they're healthy again. And I know that the impact of losing that, not only the infected staff, but the people that were in immediate proximity, they had to sit out 14 days to make sure that they were not affected as well. So that's had a significant impact on our ability to perform work, and I appreciate the public's patience and understanding in the fact that our staff is occasionally going to be limited. Okay, with that, we'll move on to item 20, council and staff reports. So, Councilmember Meyer.
All right, first we have our Community Action Partnership out of Riverside. One of the highlights, we have our cooling centers, and they are open with pandemic modifications. We don't have any locally, so if there's any groups that would like to have a cooling center, they can contact me and I can put them in touch with the Community Action Partnership, and then they can go over the guidelines with them. There are 13 as of June 1st in Riverside County, so not a lot, and it's going to be hot. So there's one thing. The Community Outreach Committee, we've had 2 meetings in the last 2 weeks. We've been getting, excited. The governor put out Project Home Key for $600 million plus of grants for reaching out to homeless. So we've gone through and had several meetings to identify different facilities that are here in town. The last meeting yesterday, everybody came back, and there are quite a few assisted living places that could be used as, if a group would come in and do this. I was very clear at the meeting, the city is not looking to run any type of shelter, but that nonprofits would have to step up and do these type of things. Obviously, first on the list, we have Valley Restart. They have their over 4 acres, and several of those acres are not developed. They, as a group, we have to be flexible with what could possibly be done, but we have so many vacant actual assisted living facilities here in town that that would be great. And then another possibility is of getting some help, and one of the needs, we went through and identified the needs, and they're obviously similar as every city, but one of them that rose to the top of the list are young adults between 18 and 24. We're having the hardest time. We have California Family Life Center, who is providing services and job training, coaching, life skills, but he has no place for these people to stay. So this is very early in the process here, but Lieutenant Fleming at Salvation Army is looking to see if there's anything that they can do to partner with California Family Life. So those are type of things that are in the discussion process right now. Maybe, Mayor, we can appoint someone else to my committee. Maybe Linda wants to come now. Come on, Linda. Since Bonnie's gone, so you want to do that? Okay. I'll talk to you after the meeting, but we have a a meeting tomorrow with the county, just to go over different ways that they could give their opinion and assessments and have services that they could provide also that could help out. It'll be with California Family Life, Salvation Army, and Valley Restart also. So it'll be virtual, so I'll make sure that they send you the link also. So that is great. And then there are the facilities that we have identified that are empty. We have the empty place across from Devonshire Care Center. It's a 2-story, 50-bed. The Our Lady of the Valley, on their property, they have a 15-bed, and it is owned by someone else. But they're working on that contact because they work together with them. They are talking about maybe having Catholic Charities come in and run something because they have things that they do. And then back to the list, I said the 18 to 24, the families, we have single parents, families with children. That is the second one. The third are women and children. There's a group that's looking at just working with women and children. And then single ladies. That's very hard. And we do have places in town that will take single men, but the women and children are the hardest, or families are the hardest to place. So if we have different organizations that will step up, it'll be interesting. We have we put in our request for information to the state. So when that comes, we're going to schedule something. Within the first 30 days, they kind of give you a bonus, but everybody talks, and so we'll see if people will actually do something. Yeah, we can only dream. Whatever is done has to be done in 90 days. So that's the rest.
Very short timeline.
Yeah, we'll get it done. They just got to give us the money. All right, that's all I have.
Okay. Councilmember Percival.
I don't have anything because either the meetings haven't happened yet or they've all been canceled. RCA was canceled this month. Planning Commission was canceled last week. But I will touch on this. I know in light of Bonnie's resignation today, I know she was headed up the skate park task force. So since she's not here anymore, and the site that we're looking at is at Gibble Park, which is in my district, I will step in on that. And so Chris, if you and I can get together and talk some more about that.
Yeah, I think when we have our other discussion related to the other impacts related to the resignation of Councilmember Wright, we'll probably want to look at the rest of those committees and see what we need to reorganize to make those things happen. So it's on my radar, Councilmember. That's all I have.
Thank you. Linda?
Okay. The library is distributing, in lieu of their in-house summer reading program, they are distributing summer fun bags, and you can sign up on the library website or call their number over there. It's by appointment. You can come in I think it's up to age 18 for this reading program, and they're giving out bags full of books and crafts and activities, and you need to make an appointment to come and pick it up. But it's a good thing, and so if you're interested in that, go to their website and find that out. Let's see, what else? RTA we had our meeting last week, and a couple things on that. I think I reported once before that starting August 1st, I believe it is, that all students in the RTA area, all the way up to, 18, with an ID or with a card from RTA, can ride free on the buses for a year because of a grant funding that Councilmember Bridget Moore from Wildemar was very, very instrumental in getting for RTA. Also, it applies to all of the college UPass programs, so they're going out for that and making sure that everybody gets that added information that it is still, whether school is in session or not, they can still ride the buses free. One thing that they reported out on, which lends itself to the ongoing situation with CalPERS. Last year, RTA made the decision to pay off their unfunded liability with CalPERS and gave them a lump sum payment of $21 million, which paid off their unfunded liability. They got a notice from CalPERS last week that because of, they went back through records and blah, 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 and their, all the other rules and regs that CalPERS can come up with, they now owe another $5.2 million. So it's like no matter how much you pay off, they're going to come back and tell you you owe more. But I will say that and they're going to pay this additional $5.2 million. That will save them $4.5 million over the next 9 years. But guaranteed. Guaranteed you can probably take it to the bank, because CalPERS will. They're going to come back with more unfunded liabilities for everybody. And RCTC, we had a budget and implementation meeting yesterday, and I will say we're all getting really good at virtual meetings. That one just, it went off without a hitch. Everybody, and we take actual roll call, and there was 27 people in that meeting. So roll call was the majority of the time. But one of the things that we approved and is going to go to the full board in August is the discontinuance of the plan to go forward with the special events train from Los Angeles to Cocha to Indio for the festivals that go on. We had received, RCTC had received some special funding to get it all set up and work with the railroad, Union Pacific, and with Losan to fund a temporary station in Indio. And everything was going along really, really well, and then all of a sudden it was Union Pacific decided that they needed kind of an access fee because it's a heavily traveled freight line, and they were concerned that their freight shipments may get delayed with having a special event train for a week 3 times a year, so like, what is it, 3 weeks out of the year? Anyway, so their access fee that they wanted to give was more than the grant funding to build the station, and RCTC decided that was not a good use of public funds for that amount of time for that small amount of people. So all of the resolutions going forward on that, we rescinded them in budget and implementation, and it'll be going to the full board in August. So that special events train to Indio will not be happening. And of course, this year doesn't make any difference because the festivals aren't happening. But it is something that we've asked that maybe, you know, they keep on the back burner and work on it in line with the LA to Indio regular train. Did a feasibility study on a regular passenger train two times a day between the desert and LA. And it has come down that it will have to have a 3rd track laid all the way, which tops out at a little over $1.6 billion. So that one's on burner too, on a slow burner. But anyway, so that's all I have. It's, you know, business as usual, and it's just all this money, and you know, we could have the realignment of 79 for $1.1 billion. So let's go. We'll take the excess. We'll go. Well, never mind. That's my personal opinion. So that was it.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of like Michael was, that a lot of these meetings haven't taken place yet, or they've been virtual. You neglected to mention that you did participate last Friday in a webinar.
I did.
On the Project Home Key.
I listened to the
It was
entire
it was a
That's why we didn't get on there.
it was
We
a
got
2-hour
bumped off.
webinar.
Oh,
Too many people. We did too. He did too.
really? There was only, they said there was 100 people on the line on this.
Yeah.
It's
It was a bit of a struggle initially, but I did finally link up, and I actually sat through the whole 2 hours. They did allow, if you were online, you could submit a question through like a chat option. I submitted a question that never really got answered. I had to kind of chuckle that they opened the meeting talking about, based on the exceptional success of the, what is it, Safe Key program? Room Key program. They launched the Project Home Key, and that's the only place I've ever really heard somebody refer to that as a successful program, because all the reports I'm hearing, it's been a dismal failure, and especially in the Bay Area where they tried to get that off the ground. But I wish them better luck with this new endeavor. One of the questions that I asked, because of the short timeline, they never brought up my question, so I didn't get an answer to it. But I asked, based on the short timeline and the fact that there's so much work that has to go into an application, what happens if, because the $600 million is $550 of federal COVID relief money and $50 million of state money. And my question was, if you don't have enough applicants to consume that $550 million of federal money, what's the governor's plan for allocation of any unspent funds? I didn't really expect that I would get an answer to that, but I had to ask the question anyhow, just curious. Anyhow, yeah, probably so. I would like to share, though. I got this letter that was, and I don't know if it went to the full council. It was addressed to the mayor, but I just wanted to share this because Linda and I had a meeting months ago with a representative for a program called Voices for Children. And the timing was just excellent, because when we met with her, you guys were looking at CDBG funding, and so we steered her in that direction. So this letter dated July 20th, I just highlighted a couple of points. Thanks to you and your tremendous support, Voices for Children has once again provided the life-altering advocacy of a court-appointed special advocate, that they call CASA, for more Riverside County youth in foster care this year than ever. In spite of the COVID-19 pandemic, Voices for Children continued to grow, serving 434 children this past year. Yet our CASA volunteers have risen to the challenge of supporting youth during these times by developing creative ways to maintain a close, albeit virtual, connection with their case children. This year, 434 children have been matched with CASA volunteers, each of whom devotes an extraordinary amount of time to their individual child's case. CASAs gather information about their cases. They meet with all relevant stakeholders, such as social workers, teachers, counselors, and they write influential court reports for judges. Judges rely on thorough CASA reports to make their critical decisions in each child's best interest. Ultimately, CASA helps to restore safety and stability to foster children's lives, paving the way to brighter futures. I'm deeply grateful for your contribution to our work. We simply can't do it without you. Thank you so much for being part of the Voices for Children family. So I said, and she wrote a hand note, we are so grateful to be part of the city's CDBG program this year. So it's always nice to see positive results coming out of our allocations. We try to make the best decisions that we can going forward, and this is the kind of reward that we look for. So I just wanted to share that with you. So that's all I have for that. So ad hoc committee reports, Florida Avenue, anything new?
It's there.
It's there. And council protocols ad hoc, we did meet briefly, but we have nothing new to report on that. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have one, and it has to do with the next item, which is future agenda items. What I plan on doing is providing some sort of rubric or framework by which we can have the council prioritize some of these items, because the list is pretty robust. And so what I'd like to do is prepare just a broad, generic, potential framework or rubric that the council might utilize to help prioritize some of these items. Initially, my initial thoughts are to have something that prioritizes fiscal impact, the potential to save funding or money in the future, and potential risk or exposure on some of these items. So I know we brought this up, Councilmember Meyer brought this up at the last council meeting, so I want to make sure that I couldn't do it for this council meeting, but I'd like to go ahead and have a discussion at the next council meeting about these agenda items and how we might prioritize these, because the list is getting pretty long.
And I have,
Remove number 6 and number 10, finish number 10 tonight, and number 6, you don't have a co-visitor. That's my motion, I mean, remove those two so that you can not have such a long list.
Okay, I have a motion to delete items 6 and 10 of the future agenda item list. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by Mayor Pro Tem Krupa. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Meyer?
yes.
Councilmember Percival?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Krupa?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes, that motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much for that. Nice to see something going off the list. And that brings us to item 22. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned to the next regular city council meeting on Tuesday, August 11th. Thank you for joining us through electronic and telephonic means. And I would like to adjourn this meeting with an expression of gratitude for all the decades of community service that Bonnie Wright has provided in a variety of ways, most recently on our city council. So we stand adjourned.